If you're starting out your product photography journey, you might be wondering, how the fudge do I shoot manual mode? Don't worry, it's gonna be easy from here on out. Hi, I'm Ransom. Hi, I'm Ransom Olangan, and I'm a product photographer based out of the Philippines, and I recently quit my 9 to 5 to work 24/7. Let's jump into the topic. Let's talk about shutter speed. Shutter speed or exposure time controls how fast the shutter stays open before capturing your image. It is expressed in a fraction of a second. What the fudge does that mean? Let's break it down into two simple explanations. One is the basic effect, and the other is the exposure effect. The basic effect is the effect to the subject. It's all about motion blur. Let's assume that we're using natural light or continuous light because flash photography has a completely different approach when it comes to shutter speed. High shutter speed allows you to freeze motion. Slow shutter speed allows you to capture motion blur. It's that easy. Now, onto the exposure effect. Let's use faucet analogy. The longer you let the faucet stay open, the more water you get. The longer you let the shutter open, the more light you let in your final image. Let's talk about aperture. Aperture controls the depth of field. It answers the question, how much of the scene is in focus? That's the basic effect. Wide aperture or low f-stop number means shallow depth of field. Less is in focus. The subject is in focus. The foreground and the background are out of focus. Narrow aperture, okay, small opening, high f-stop number. That means it increases the plane of focus, okay? More of the scene is in focus. As you can see in this comparison, the foreground and the background have more details now that we increase the f number or use a smaller opening. Alright, this is gonna be silly, but if it helps you remember aperture more, then do this. This is the Pac-Man Pacquiao, okay? This is Pac-Man, wide opening, low f-stop number, okay? This is Pacquiao, uppercut. Narrow opening, high f-stop number. What the fudge is that? On to the exposure effect. Let's use a curtain analogy. The more you open the window, the more light gets in, and it applies to aperture blades. The more you open the aperture blades, the more light gets in. Let's talk about ISO. ISO is the camera sensitivity to light. This is the very last thing that I change in the camera setting whenever I'm doing product photography. The basic effect is that higher ISO will expose noise on the darker parts of the image. Contrary to the common knowledge, ISO doesn't create more noise. Less light does. Take that in mind. Lower ISO hides the noise in the darker parts of your image. Now, what's the effect of ISO to the overall exposure of the image? Using higher ISO brightens the image, but more digital noise is exposed. Lower ISO, on the other hand, results to darker image, but less digital noise is exposed. Again, this is the very last thing that I'm changing whenever I'm doing product photography. I usually play around with aperture and the power of light that I'm using, especially when I'm shooting in a studio setting. All right, I hope that's clear. Go practice. You can master these settings when you practice. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I have a lot of things to share, both what I have learned so far and my journey while I build my brand. So thank you so much. Peace out.